energy independence and jobs, clean, efficient fuel, lower gas prices, and weakening Russia. We can achieve each of those goals and more by building more pipelines and using the ones that currently exist. Everybody in this chamber has heard from their constituents about the cost of energy. Rudimentary tasks the average American and New Jerseyans undertake daily have become compromised. Tasks previously taken for granted, driving to work, taking the kids to school, going to the grocery store, and using vehicles in the course of routine business are beginning to bankrupt our state's families and businesses. A year ago, our nation's domestic energy supplies were more than sufficient to comfortably supply this nation and other friendly nations with the energy needed to peacefully go about our business. Now, just 1 year later, rather than being the world's supplier of energy, we have been reduced to dealing with the world's despotic international leaders begging for oil with our proverbial hat in our hand. We jeopardize our national security by going to the likes of Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, who has jackboots on the throats of his people and starves them into submission. He deals openly with our enemies, the Iranians, the Cubans, and the communist Chinese. We jeopardize our national security by asking Iran to supply us with oil. It's absolutely outrageous. A country that has since 1979 engaged in the taking of American hostages, repeatedly threatened our allies in the Middle East, and whose people participate in daily protests chanting "Death to America." We've been jeopardized our security up to the last week by asking for oil from the Russians, who were condemned by every member present in this assembly chamber 2 weeks ago for their deplorable actions against the Ukrainian people, and now most recently for war crimes. This assembly unanimously rebuked the Russian thug Putin together with one voice. We jeopardize our security by groveling to the Saudis, begging them to increase output to satisfy our nation's energy needs, and they do, for a price. What of the transportation of our newly found, overpriced imported oil? If exorbitant prices weren't enough, we then proceed to transport the imported energy by oil tanker, by train, and by truck, probably the most inefficient way to move the product. This resolution seeks simply to make an entreaty to the President of the United States, the Congress, and the appropriate federal agencies to use a common sense approach in satisfying our energy needs until such time that other sources of energy come online with the continuity required for an uninterrupted energy supply. Our nation is replete with oil, and the cleanest of all fossil fuels, natural gas. Right across the border in Pennsylvania lies 200 years' supply of natural gas ready for the marketplace. Making American public pay more unnecessarily is tantamount to a new energy tax, an additional tax on food and services, and it's crippling to our recovering COVID economy. The use of our pipeline infrastructure along with our already discovered resources must begin immediately if we are to produce the desired result of relief in the marketplace. This resolution seeks to supplement solar, wind, and electric cars which currently do not meet our power needs. Even the CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk, says, and I quote, "Domestic oil and gas production must increase. Extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures." Mr. Speaker, I move that Assembly Resolution 103 urging the federal approval of pipeline construction be made the order of the day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Assemblyman Auth has made a motion to make Assembly Resolution 103 the order of the day. However, Assemblyman Auth, as you know, Resolution 103 has been referred to a standing committee and accordingly can't not be made the order of the day today because it is not before the full House. Accordingly, your motion is out of order. Bill on the clerk's desk. Okay.
That's a different motion, sir.
No, he made a motion to make it the order of the day. Can't make it the order of the day because it's been referred to a committee.
Yeah, you're referring to a motion to relieve a bill from committee.
I'm sorry, Minority Leader, I can't hear you.
So
I just couldn't hear
you're
you.
referring to a motion to relieve.
No, he didn't make a motion
Committee.
to relieve it from committee. He made a motion to make it the order of the day.
Correct.
Right. The motion to make it the order of the day is out of order because it's in a committee.
The motion does not need to be relieved from a committee. Can we
I believe it does.
look at the rules?
You can make a motion to release it from committee. That motion's out of order too. In order to properly remove a resolution from committee, it first has to relieve from the committee 24 hours notice in advance, and it has to come from a reference committee that has met 3 times. So both of your motions are out of order.
I'm going to make a motion to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Minority Leader DeMaio makes a motion to appeal my ruling. So I will open the board for a vote. If you're in favor of sustaining my holding the motion out of order, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
I believe this.
Well,
I
the
believe-
time to do these things actually is when you're doing them, not after I begin the next step in the process. But I'll give you some time. So go ahead, Minority Leader. Or the resolution, I should say.
We believe by rule that he's entitled to make this motion.
Okay.
And there's nothing in the rule book that says that it needs to be relieved from committee.
And I believe that your interpretation of the rule is inaccurate.
Mr. Speaker,
And that's my ruling.
on the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Assemblyman Bergen.
Mr. Speaker, no less than 3 times last session, I moved a bill through the order of the day on this floor that was assigned to a committee. No less than 3 times. Bill A4147 was moved in this chamber 3 times last session and approved by you. Your interpretation of the rule is not following what you did for an entire 2-year legislative session, sir.
The fact that they didn't hold that motion out of order doesn't make this motion in order.
Did the speaker cite the rule on which the speaker is relying for his motion that this is, his ruling that the motion is out of order?
I didn't.
Could you repeat that? I didn't catch it, Mr. Speaker.
I didn't cite it. It's 1023.
1023?
Is there anybody else on the debate?
Mr. Speaker, I just bring the chair's attention, Rule 15:5, order of the day. Any bill or resolution may, by vote of at least 41 members, be made the order of the day, on which day it shall be considered in preference to any others, whether or not it is on the calendar for that day. The rule on the order of the day, 15:5, says nothing about a bill being in standing committee.
1023 says it has to be removed from the committee first.
Mr. Speaker, there is a rule that specifically speaks to order of the day, and respectfully, the chair is ignoring it. And choosing to cite the bill 1023, which the title is Relieve Committee of a Bill or Resolution. That's not what Assemblyman Auth's motion was. Assemblyman Auth's motion was pursuant to 15:5.
Actually, it was. He made that second. He made 2 motions.
Well, at your invitation, Mr. Speaker.
Well,
listen,
he didn't have to accept my invitation, just like I don't have to accept his motion.
Mr. Speaker, it was very obvious that Assemblyman Auth was making a motion pursuant to 15:5, order of the day. It says nothing about having to be in a committee or not in a committee. This is a motion that's been made routinely by the minority, who never gets an opportunity to vote on bills that we'd like to see the House vote on. We're simply offering a resolution at this point. I think Assemblyman Auth made a very articulate case for why it deserves the body's attention, and he simply seeks a vote on that resolution pursuant and consistent with the rules of this House.
And 1511 provides it has to be on second reading for a calendar day.
15:5 says whether or not it's on the calendar for that day. Respectfully, Mr. Speaker, you're ignoring the specific
But it's not
rule.
on second reading.
made the order of the day, on which day it shall be considered in preference to any others, whether or not it is on the calendar for that day. It says nothing about the bill or resolution having to be on second reading or being in front of a committee. It's any bill or resolution.
But you
If
can't,
someone-
1511 says it has to be on for a calendar day, Assemblyman.
So we're appealing the ruling of the chair, which is clearly in violation of the rules of this House.
Anybody else debate on the motion to appeal?